So it makes me very, very deeply happy when I interview some of the finest filmmakers of the country. We've had some great, great storytellers on our platform recently, and Nikhil Advani, who is someone who I have always loved watching, I think with some of his amazing titles growing up. And we've had him quite a few times on Filme Shilmy, and it's such a big pleasure to have him once again because Freedom at Midnight season 2 has started streaming on Sony Live, and it's so wonderful to see this series actually really evolve and how it's genuinely gotten so much love and appreciation. It's wonderful. So Nikhil, thank you so much for joining me on Film Show Me once again, and a huge congratulations on Freedom at Midnight.
Thank you, man. Thank you, Anuj. And yeah, and thank you for all the support. I mean, we keep reposting all your wonderful Instagram shout outs to us. Yeah, yeah.
Oh no, the pleasure is always mine. It's always so good to support good art. I think that's what always matters. And look, I think Nikhil, for me, what really jumps out in this season is I felt like the first season, it still was gripping. It still had its edgy feel because it almost was like, like a procedural kind of a feel, but it was very sharp and edgy. But here, I feel the emotions are much more heightened and understandably so because we're seeing the partition actually unravel. And I would love to know, for your sensibilities as a filmmaker, how has that sort of evolved from the first season? Because obviously, like we were mentioning, it was all decision making in the first season, and the second season, it's where the action happens. How did that really alter your approach to making the series and telling the
It didn't
story?
alter Anuj at all because we shot both. We wrote both the seasons together. We shot both the seasons together. It's not as if that we actually did a post-mortem of season one and said, okay, this is what these are the things that possibly people did not connect with, and let's correct it. None of that actually happened because we actually started editing season two before season one had even had released. You
Hmm.
know, so the material we had with us was the material we had is what you're watching, right?
Hmm.
Uh, and you're absolutely right. Season one is more like a chamber piece. It's like a boardroom drama, right? It's
Yeah,
basically
exactly.
yeah. So it's basically very important men taking very important decisions, which seemingly do I really care for? Do I really give a damn about those decisions at all? But what happens in season two, because you suddenly see the violence and the exodus, and you're talking about immigration and migration, and you just basically say, "Hello, man. Hello, my grandfather also came across, and my father also came across, or my neighbor's father also came across, or my grandfather was had this happened to them." And you also the perspectives or the opinions that we have about Nehru, Gandhi, Patel today are have been formed by what happened in those 5 6 months of 1947. Right, this is what we turn around and say they should have done it like this, they could have done it like this, why did they not do it like this? He deserves to have got this, etc., etc. But the point is that retrospect is a very powerful tool. 75 years later I can turn around and do what and turn around and say they got it wrong or they got it right or whatever it is. My point is that I decided when I read the book that the events are indisputable. I can't actually say that, Dominique Lapierre and Larry Collins had all the information. They did not possibly have it. And over 50 years since the book has been reprinted and edition after edition has come, things could have changed also. So I just said, okay, the events are indisputable. Let me put the audience and let me put the viewer in right inside. Put
Hmm.
them right inside the rooms first where the discussions are happening, then put them inside the death trains, then put them in the middle of Jinnah's assassination. You're inside the car possibly, or you're with the assassin on the rooftop. Put you into the Patiala Express that blows up. Put you into the train that gets shot. Put you into the bus which catches on which is set on fire because Madan Lal Pawa is there. You know, in the middle of the war room where they're discussing Kashmir. So I put everybody over there, and suddenly you're like, oh my God, even I didn't have all the information. Even
Right.
I did not, right? So you are basically a voyeur to see Nehru did not have all the information, nor did Patel have all the information, nor did Jinnah have, and they are grappling with it all, right? Which
Hmm.
some of the other humanizes them also, that we don't have everything.
No, absolutely. And I think this is, and what I love about the series, and I think I mentioned this to you in our previous interview that we did for season one, I believe, is that I think it's your approach that you take. You're almost like a fly on the wall,
Yeah,
as a
yeah.
storyteller. There is no, because like I've mentioned before, it's a very polarizing environment. When we talk about partition, it's a blood boiling topic. It's a very sensitive topic as well because, like you mentioned, so many forefathers of ours have moved from one country to another, and we all know what went down. Uh, and it's a really big subject of discussion. But I think the approach you take is that you show the freedom fighters who are either very much glorified or villainized, and I think you take a very middle ground approach, which I absolutely admire a lot, actually. And it's very important to have that human lens. How, uh, what was your approach again in doing that and having that very human approach? Because I feel like you've pretty much done that with a lot of your characters that you have had, especially across Emmay Entertainment generally. Like you might have had people who have been, who have saved nations. Like you take an airlift, for example, Partiala House, or if you take D-Day, Rishi Kapoor's character, who is as evil as it comes, right? So you've always had that human lens where you're not judging the characters. How important is it, and what helps you to have that non-judgment towards your approach?
Very interesting question. I don't know. I don't know. But I feel that, um, I mean, a lot of people turn around and say, I watch a film like an audience,
Hmm.
right? You can't. It's not possible. If you're in the film industry, you cannot watch a film like the audience because you can't. It's not possible. You already have a bias. You already know what the filmmaker has made, what the filmmaker is going to say, what the filmmaker wants to say. You have an opinion on the actors. You have an opinion on lots of things. So you really can't watch the guy who goes in to watch a film who that is houseful and cannot watch that film and actually looks at the poster and say, hey, this other film was released. Okay, I'm
Mm,
going to go and watch. That's the audience. He has
mm.
nothing. He has no expectations for that film at all. That's an audience. Nobody else is an audience, right? So I mean, therefore, if I can turn around and appeal to that guy because he has no idea what he's going to go. Right now, we make our opinion based on a trailer. Right? How many times have you heard, Anuj, that people watch a trailer and decide whether they need to come or the best
True.
only asset that matters is a great trailer. Send out his so why how can I and therefore in a piece that like you said has such polarized opinions. I think the best thing I can do is not put my judgment on your shoulders. I'll
Correct.
put you there. I'll allow you to take that call. I'll allow you to call me whatever you want to call me, whether you want to agree with me, whether you want to disagree with me. I think it stems also, Anuj, from a part that I'm a firm believer in disagreement. Right?
Yes.
I'm a firm believer that I may disagree with what you have to say, but I will go to my death to try and defend your right to say it. Right? You must say it.
Mm,
You must say
mm.
that I don't agree with you. Right? A lot of the time, I take it to an extreme. A lot of people come and see some of the stuff I've done, some of the edits, and they say brilliant. I know it's not brilliant. I know it's not brilliant. I know that already there are some problems to it. So when you say brilliant, I will not call you the next time because I know that you're only saying something to satisfy me. I'm not calling you to satisfy me, right? Yeah, because eventually, if you're being dishonest to me, you cannot be that guy who's going to watch it by paying hard-earned money. He's only honest. He doesn't have an agenda. He's saying I didn't get value for my money, boss. Fuck off. You know.
Yeah. Hmm.
So I'm not judging anything. I'm not anything. I'm not putting anybody. And I think it helps is that if you have a great writing room, we decided that the log line of the show, there were two there were one there was a comment that Danish Khan made which became the tagline of the show. History you may not know, but the history you should know. So we wanted to pick up beat after beat, moment after moment, event after event, things that people we know. Anuj, people have sent me screenshots of their Google searches
Mm.
because they're watching the episode, they're stopping and say, "We went and we checked. Did this really happen? We went and checked. Did this happen? We can't believe did this whole thing happen? Is it? So? Lot of people have been doing that. that was the first thing, the history you may not know, but the history you should know. And the second one was the log line of the show, which is the most important thing when you're doing long form, right? Because all 7 hours has to satisfy this log line,
Hmm.
which is, in our case, it was the sacrifice of many and the ambition of one, right? And so we just any scene, any moment, any beat, any plot that did not fall into this sacrifice of many, ambition of one, we threw it out.
Right. Amazing. And do you know what? I also want to talk a bit about the color palette here. I felt like, I mean, obviously, I feel like there is that prominence of pastelish framework. Like it is very brighter. Perhaps again, I think period dramas do adapt this just to kind of give that sense of catharsis because the history is so dark and to kind of give a sense of relief. So I can understand that. But I do feel definitely the colors generally that as the series unravels gets darker and darker and deeper for sure, which I think wasn't there. Of course, in the first season, you had your browns, to kind of symbolize that whole courtroom, I mean, not courtroom, but boardroom drama style of storytelling and all of that. So I can understand that. But here, it gets darker as well. Talk to me, if you can, a bit about the color palette and what really dictated for you to choose and employ the colors that you did for
Well,
this.
it becomes darker primarily because the what is going to happen becomes darker,
Right.
right? It moves from the accession of the princes to Kashmir, where it's completely. I mean, the my reference point for Kashmir was this incredible film called The Darkest Star with Gary Oldman. You
Ah, yeah,
know,
yeah.
it's
Mm.
an incredible film, right? About the land Dunkirk, the decision to send the boats out for Dunkirk, and that was a big reference point for Malay and me, and that's why so much of the Kashmir episode is handheld inside that room. A lot of people smoking, smoke everywhere, tension, just very few sources of light. And then, of course, we started going into, the fast and Madan Lal Pawa and the conspiracy to assassinate Gandhi. But I mean, there was, I don't think there was a conscious decision, I think, to make things darker. I think
Mm.
it possibly just something that was extremely subliminal in Malay and my mind, which possibly made us approach the scenes that we did. And in fact, Malay and I have become so much in sync with what we both want in terms of a visual representation of the scene, that
Right.
we hardly even talk about it.
Mm.
We talk more about the performance. We talk about whether is this dialogue really going to work? Will this land? Can this be better? Malay possibly has seen more Hindi films than I have seen.
Oh,
He
wow.
has seen possibly Kal Ho Naa Ho more times than I have seen. He cries every time Shah Rukh Khan comes on stage, comes on any kind. So he's a full filmy boy,
Mm.
But he is this guy, kid from NYU, and he's done advertising. He's one of the top advertising DOPs. So I think that the idea, Anuj, for the pastel shades is because it's British rose and British the wine, the pastel green and the pastel pink and the English rose, those kind of, to signify that hey, this is British and this is Indian, right? This is India.
Mm.
I think that we took a lot of care when it came to Jinnah, because Jinnah took a lot of care.
Mm.
Right. He was this very self-made man, South Bombay elitist Muslim, living in Malabar Hill, who had seemingly built his entire house with his own hands, in the sense that chosen every single piece of thing that was there in his house.
Mm.
So I think we took a little more trouble in terms of how Jinnah will look, because also we were going to constantly cut between the real footage and the and our footage. So we had to make sure that the suits were in the same cut, the suit color. He was wearing the same shoes. He was the pipe, or was he smoking a cigarette? Those kind of things.
Hmm. It's interesting, actually. And I think also what I've really found fascinating is your style of really going geographic, like your geography, I think, as a storyteller as well. I think I mentioned this to you in the last interview that we did that I think Patiala House for me is one of the finest films which actually talks about the British Indian life and the NRI life, which is far
Yeah,
away from the escapism, but yet
yeah.
offers that sense of, Hindi cinema kind of feeling. Um, you take that one, you take, like I said, D-Day, which talks again about counterterrorism, all the other films that you have made, even if you have stories which are in the heartlands of India or set in India itself, I think your understanding of not just the political side of things, but the geography and capturing that same emotion, which is sentimentality and all of that, is something which I find very, very fascinating. Geography doesn't seem to be ever a hindrance for you in your storytelling, is it? It seems to just be uh, a setting rather than actually kind of, you seem to want to get into the crux of the emotions rather than focusing on the differences of the geographies. Am I correct in that judgment?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, yeah. I mean, but I think that the crux of the emotion does stem from definitely from in the case of Patiala House from what was happening in South Hall in 1984,
Yeah,
right? I
of
mean,
course.
so I think that the emotion of the what is I think what is the event is what actually drives me, whether it's 2611, whether it is the opportunity to bring Dawood Ibrahim back, whether it is first generation immigrant going to England and being having to deal with racism, whether it is, I think those themes are very big in my for me to be attracted to the storytelling. Whether it's Rocket Boys was about brotherhood and bromance, and it was not so much about the rocket, right? It
Of
was more
course.
about a mentor and student relationship. And in the case of Freedom at Midnight, really it was an opportunity to basically try and somewhere or the other, bring back the dialogue to, hey guys, we did not know everything that these guys were dealing with.
Hmm.
Right? They were dealing with a lot of, half information, chaos, confusion, and I think that they did what they had to do. And yes, of course, today we can turn around and say that they could have done something differently. But I mean, nobody knew that Jinnah was going to die, yeah, with
Yeah.
TB. If they knew that, we would not have partition, your family possibly would not have migrated to the UK. Lots of the world would be very different.
Hmm.
The subcontinent would be a very different subcontinent if just the people in that room that were making decisions knew that Jinnah was about to die.
Right.
Everything would be different.
Hmm. It's interesting. I mean, I do think it's so interesting. I mean, history is just it's such a debated subject. It's just like it's like a rabbit hole. Actually, you can never really find a solution. It's like ye hota to wo hota. Like
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah,
it's like a complete Rumi quote. But
yeah.
no, I think it's interesting. It is really interesting because I think even the films that MA has backed or the projects that MA have backed, like you mentioned, Rocket Boys earlier, but I feel like there is, you said, like you mentioned, that whole sense of not politics, but of social importance. There is that
Yes,
backdrop of
absolutely. Yeah,
social
yeah.
importance
There's
in all
there's
of the
no question
stories.
about, yeah, there's no question about that. I mean, that's what drives us, right? That we need to be able to make some responsible choices, give out some responsible information. Mrs. Chatterjee versus Norway, right? In the
Such a
sense that
great film.
such
Oh.
a great film, right? And what is it? Basically, a mother taking on a country, and
Mm,
turning and say, how is that the culture that I have? How is my culture different, wrong, and your culture right?
absolutely. Yeah. No, I remember literally this is what I told. I mean, first of all, also big congratulations on the National Film Awards as well for that. I mean, incredible. I'm so happy to hear the amount of
No, I
acclaim
feel
that it's
it's
gotten.
I don't deserve anything. It's completely Rani because actually her take on Mrs. Chatterjee versus Norway was her take. It was if
Oh,
ours was slightly more subdued and slightly more subtle, and as she said, I'm making Mother India, boss. Just let me do what I have to do. Let me do
nice.
right. So she was bang on. She's incredible. And I just feel vindicated because I remember calling her up after reading the script and saying, Rani, I'm calling you after 25 years. You're going to get a national award for this film. Just say yes. You know?
Wow, that's
Yeah.
so cool. No, but I think Rani ma'am, honestly, like Nikhil, I can tell you because I think I'll share it with Rani ma'am whenever I speak with her. But the way I saw my mom cry in Mrs. Chatterjee versus Norway, mom has seen, you can see any kind of film. She's seen the most sentimental film, but the way she cried watching Mrs. Chatterjee versus Norway when her child gets taken away from her. Oh my goodness. Like I'm literally getting goosebumps just remembering
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
conversation.
You don't. I mean, I can picture it. It's yeah, it's an incredible. It's an incredible a real life moment that Rani owned, and
Yeah.
she just. I mean, what she did with it is incredible. Yeah, yeah.
Right. No, but I think what I also raised with Moni when I interviewed her as well is that I said to her that what I absolutely deeply admire about MA is your ability to really champion the underdog voice. I think in all of the characters that you have,
We don't have a choice, Yanush. We are the underdogs, so we have to champion our voice.
Yeah, good. Elaborate on that, please, because I think it would be really nice to know about that. One was the moment because I remember it was such a great interview that we had. It was such a wonderful conversation. And Moni, as you know, she's very like pretty much like you, I think. It's an Advani trait, I think. Jo dil mein hai, wo zubaan pe aata hai.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
think she was really beautifully articulated like how the production started off, how you and Madhu and Moni came together to start the production. But I think it would be good to know just a bit more and delve into that whole underdog spirit as well, because I think we're seeing the rise of that, especially in the industry currently as well, the rise of the underdogs.
yeah. But I mean, I think that whether it is, I mean, just look at the August 15 releases that we did. We were always the underdog, whether it is
Yeah.
Satyamev Jayate with Gold, or whether it was Patiala House with Mission Mangal. We've always been the underdog, right? At the end of the day, that Veda with 3-2. I mean, we got eaten up by them, right? In the sense, so we like to be the underdog. We like to work in stealth. We like to be quiet about the things that we are doing. It suits us, right? It suits us. I mean, that's also possibly the kind of personalities we are. We live on the other side of the sea link, not on the north side. We live on the south side. So basically, when we all cross the sea link in Bombay, we completely cut off from the politics of the film industry and the parties of the film industry and the equations of the film industry. Therefore, we are only interested in basically saying, hey, there's an injustice happening to this. There's an injustice happening very clearly with regards to this. Can we tell this story so that we can highlight this?
Mm,
So yeah, so I think that Munisha likes to say that we are a bunch of fact checkers, you know,
mm.
and maybe it's time to go back to opening our arms up on the Brooklyn Bridge. Maybe it's time that the next 15 years is about that. So yeah.
I remember she did mention this actually in the Q&A that we did that everyone is waiting for you to make the next Kal Ho Naa Ho. And my question is, why aren't you? Why aren't you, Nikhil?
Because you can't make it, because films like Kal Ho Naa Ho and Kuch Kuch Hota hai and Dilwale and so Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum are seminal moments in very 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 talented people's lives that come together, and everything just falls into place, right? It cannot be
You
manufactured.
can't emulate it, yeah,
Yeah,
true.
you can't manufacture it. You can't you today everything is a slightly more plastic and a slightly more structured, a slightly more calculated, right?
Hmm.
Uh, the music of Kal Ho Naa Ho came together because Shankar Ehsaan Loy, Javed Akhtar brought magic together. Farah was at her peak. So whether it's Kal Ho Naa Ho, whether it's Salam Ishq or whatever, I think that is very difficult to do those kind of things. But having said that, I think that yes, I over the last 2 3 years I was little disillusioned with and possibly fearful of do I know what is required in the theatrical space anymore,
Hmm.
and will I just expose myself, will I just be a colossal failure when it comes to the theatrical space, and so maybe I should just step back from it for a while. But I think that over the last couple of months I have heard a few subjects which I feel that, yeah, man, we why can't we make a Rishikesh Mukherjee kind of film, or a Vasuda type of film, or why can't we do a kind of Gulzar kind of lovely, mature love story? Yeah, so I don't know.
So viewers did not see my reaction as soon as he mentioned Rishikesh Mukherjee. My face literally lit up, and I honestly, please, like, I would love that. Gujarati cinema had a spectacular film called Lalo recently, which
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah,
such
yeah.
a
He came and met me. I mean, I met the team, and they came and they met me, and incredible young underdog. Let's talk about underdogs, man.
yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
literally. That's what I'm saying. So it's just so wonderful. But I want to jog back because you did mention that whole fear about colossal failure and all of that, and I understand where that stems from. I get where you're coming from in that. I can totally resonate. Because I remember when Salame Ish came out, like there was this teaser that you had cut, and you could hear like the Spanish, the Scottish, wo jo hai na, wo jo,
Bagpipes.
the bagpipes. So there was that version that came out, and it literally said from the director of Kal Ho Naa Ho and the creators of Chini Kam, like literally coming up on screen. You could see that shot where I think Aisha Takia is like spinning around and all in Salame
Yeah,
Ish.
yeah, yeah.
I remember as growing up, for me, that was an incredible film. And as I've grown and evolved, I've only had a lot more fondness for that movie. And I know it
Yeah.
didn't do well at the time because
Yeah.
the
I mean,
dynamics were
it's
different.
heartbreaking because the music of Salamix is incredible. That kind of star cast was incredible. Some of the tracks were superb. Some tracks did work for other people. Some tracks worked for other people. So yeah, I think maybe it's time to do a like a reprise kind of thing. But let's see what.
Honestly, I was like, honestly, I mean, I love Salman and Priyanka in that film, and I really loved, and I'm still gutted you did not include Mera Dil in the final cut because I love that song so much.
Yeah.
And that is one of my favorite songs from Salame Ishq, let me tell you. But I think for me, John and Vidya's segment, Ek Taraf and Puri Film Ek Taraf.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Like
But
honestly, because
that's a true story of people that Monisha and I know. Yeah.
really,
Yeah. Yeah.
oh wow, that's incredible. Yeah, so Nikhil, there is a space. There is a space. In fact, now is probably the perfect time for you
I
to
think so
remake
too.
that.
I think so too. So I've been thinking very seriously about it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. Well, look, I think on a final note, since we are obviously talking about freedom at midnight, and honestly, a big shout out to Sony Live for the amazing, amazing titles and lineups of content that they have on the platform. And I think I've genuinely had a lot of fondness as well that of the titles that have come out. I think now going forward, Nikhil, we have touched on it a little bit, but I think since we were talking about the underdog spirit and all of that, uh, if you could elaborate, what would you see as the next milestone for you as a filmmaker, as a storyteller, and perhaps for MA largely as well as an entity? What would you like to see in the next couple of years, even months as well?
You know, this is 15 years of MA right now. So this is the 15th year of MA. So
Oh,
basically, yeah, so
amazing.
it's a kind of celebration for us for whatever we've done and whatever kind of victories that we've had in the past 15 years. But at the same time, it also means that we have to now make sure that there is a second generation that is going to like the all the younger directors who've been working with me and by along with me and for me and for us and for Manisha and for Madhu and yeah, so it's very exciting times for us at MA at this point. There'll be a slew of announcements that will come because we've been in the last 2 years we've been just developing and we've been just getting everything ready for just to now just get out of the gates flying.
Mm,
So yeah, personally, for me, I think that I've spent the last 2 years directing, whether it was Mumbai Diaries, whether it was Veda, whether it was Freedom at Midnight. So I'm looking forward to slow down a bit and make sure that all the other productions come flying out right now. So
yeah,
yeah, and while I write whatever my next is, obviously Revolution is the Amazon show, which is pre-Gandhi
that's
1912
going
to
to be great.
1913. That will come at the second half of this year. But other than that, yeah, just a little more introspection and be a little more careful about what we are going to be doing next. Yeah,
Definitely. Well, I think the beautiful thing about you, Nikhil, is that no matter how much exploratory stuff you do, no matter how much social importance of storytelling that you entail in your films, I think essentially you will always be that filmmaker who is deeply inspired by the Yash Chopra, Karan Johar brand of cinema.
absolutely.
And
There's
that's
no
in your
question about it.
DNA. And that
Yes,
is a
totally.
beautiful thing. Seriously.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Very much. Very
Because
much.
we need,
Yeah, I can't run away from that. I don't but wish to run away from that. You know. Yeah.
yeah, no, it's amazing. Well, look, Nikhil, thank you so much for joining me on Filme Shilmy, and a huge congratulations to the Emmay Entertainment team for completing 15 glorious years. And honestly, I think it's amazing how much progression and evolve, the journey, the trajectory has been incredible. And
Yeah.
I'm super eager to see how the future unfolds as well, especially with not just Freedom at Midnight, but also in the future projects as well that you have lining up as well. And a big shout out again to
Thank
Sony
you,
Liv.
Anil. Thank you so much. And thank you for being one of our big supporters, man.
Thank you. No, it's
Cheerleaders.
always
Yeah.
such a
Yeah.
pleasure. It's always such a pleasure. It's just good cinema. I think whenever I see good art, it just makes me so deeply satisfied and happy. And I think that's what we're all here for, right? We're all here for the passion. We're all here for the storytelling. And thank you for always giving such good storytelling. Seriously.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much.
All right, Nikhil, take care.
Bye.
See you
Thanks.
soon.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
Bye
Bye bye.
bye.